Yo, what is up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you've been doing well. Today we are back for another review. Today we have here SHFiguarts Android 19. Now we have been waiting for this for quite some time, and we're still going to be waiting a little bit for Dr. Gero, but he is on the way. And yeah, let's get straight into this guy. So first things first, Android 19. I know he's not a character a lot of people care for, but he is pretty cool to have. I mean, if you like the Android saga and just the early bits of it, he is pretty cool, all right, for that short duration. And then he gets KO'd by Vegeta, which, of course, I think many people are gonna be posing him in that iconic position if they have that Vegeta. And yeah, I mean, he's okay, right? Now, for the articulation bits, I really am kind of surprised at the range. It's not super crazy, but it is just interesting with the engineering and all. So we'll definitely get into all that. But design-wise, I mean, he looks great. I mean, you could just pose him like that and he'll look great with Dr. Gero anyways. So yeah, we're getting close, to I think finally finishing off just the first phase of the Android saga. So hopefully we can kind of move more into mid-cell saga and get semi-perfect cell. Hopefully they announce some Super Vegeta, Super Trunks. Maybe, hopefully, we'll see. Or they could just jump straight to the end and give us a new 3.0 cell and a Gohan. So we'll see. It's all up in the air. But without further ado, let's just jump straight into his articulation and accessories. So first things first, let's take a look at these accessories here. So he does come with the damaged forearms, which I'll take here out in the side. Right here. So you just replace them here. You can kind of just pull them off. They come off really easily. I don't feel like right now that there'd be any issue with like it sliding off super easily, but I don't know how long into the future that would last. But there are remedies for that, and just in case if it starts happening. But yeah, oops, just dropped it. Pretty easy to pop on and off, like I said. And he comes with a really neat accessory here. So I believe this works on any of the heads, and let me see if we can get that detail in there. Yeah, the circuits and whatnot in the head. No light up feature, which I'm not expecting at all. But yeah, pretty easy to swap out. They do give you a tiny tool for that. Let me see if I can grab it with my nailless fingers right now. There we go. It's pretty small though. It's like just a stick, kind of. So you just kind of put it on the side and pop it out, and that's pretty much it. But just for example purposes, let's just grab a head out the box really quick. You match it up and you just stick it on there like so, and there you go. You've got a kind of brain head, if you will, and that's easy to take off as well. I mean, you can just grab it from the top as well and just kind of pull it off. Not that hard. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Accessory wise, for him to be able to change all of those heads regardless and have it be exposed like that, that's pretty interesting. I have seen that there are some people getting like bad print on like the eyes and stuff like that. I do think you can just send a request to I think you can go through Premium Bandai, or you just go through Bandai or whatever to get a replacement. But I have seen people start getting those, so that is something to be aware of, just in case you're dealing with that. Of course, I'm pulling it out here. We have this Vegeta face, and honestly speaking, I still don't see any reason that they had to include this. I get it. Makes people buy it in case they do want it, but it's one faceplate that they could have added to a $35 figure. Come on now. This is not that different from the faceplates I think we already have. The eyes are looking down. That's really it. So let's get into the faces, and I would rather show these off just in hand first, because there's some pretty good detail on these. So he's got his laughing expression, and I noted that some people were saying it's not like matte, and it's more like shiny, which was interesting to me because I was under the impression that it was going to be more like a matte color and kind of like a bright white, but it feels and looks more like porcelain, which kind of is interesting for a take on Android 19. And I think it works kind of, with the lighting and stuff. Like, it's really not reflective, but the light bounces off really interestingly. just kind of works, I guess you could say. Just my opinion. But this is kind of the battle damage face here. You got Vegeta's boot, which probably should be a little bigger, but it's up to you how you feel about that. Little battle scratches on it, and yeah, pretty good overall. They seem to be getting a little bit better. I don't know about consistency wise, but getting a little bit better with face plates and heads, you know, having more of a unique expression. And I really am excited for Kui, who's coming out next year. The faces just look really interesting. Of course, you know, he's a character that not a lot of people are super interested in, so that's the kind of caveat with it. We've got this kind of smug look here. It's creepy, man. Then you've got looking off to the side. Not too bad, not too bad. I like the shine on the earrings as well. Like, it's really, it stands out. Everything about it just kind of works. And taking a look here at the final face. Just your standard stern expression, kind of blank emotion for an android. Yeah, and as you can see, like all the colors, you know, it's also a little shiny, a little bit on the legs and stuff like that. There's a little bit of shading here as well, kind of like a dark orange red, if you can kind of make that out, which I know people complain about not having enough shading, but yeah, it just seems like that's not something that is super prominent lately with at least Dragon Ball Figuarts. But yeah, let's look at the hands and then we'll get into the articulation. So he does come with an open palm hand, kind of a grabbing hand for when you want to kind of have him grabbing Vegeta's arms in that one specific pose or just anything else. And these are kind of like the energy absorption hands. And then you've kind of got the, I would say, kind of key blast hands. And I couldn't take them out. I have no nails. I cut them down too short. So that's why I'm having a hard time taking everything out. But yeah, well, not too anything crazy there. And one just fell out. We can take a look at it. Kind of see the ruby or whatever that is supposed to be. But yeah, again, nice and shiny too. Like, it stands out really well. I don't really mind how they did the colors and stuff like that on here. It works, you know. But yeah, let's take a look at this guy's articulation, because I think that's probably one of the more interesting things for me with this figure. So let me move this box out the way. You'll notice we're kind of doing this in one take here, but that's kind of how I like to do it. One take, get all the thoughts out, you know. So let's start here at the head. Now, first thing you'll notice here, this neck piece right here actually has some articulation. Let's see if I can. It's not too prominent, like you can't really, you can see a little bit of it rocking side to side, but it's not anything crazy. This head is on a ball peg. I don't really like this. I would prefer to double ball peg, but I get it. It works. It does what it needs to do. And for the head itself, that is about as far range as he can go. Not really anything, you know, left and right. He can do a full 360 there. Now for the arms, interesting way that they did this articulation. It's kind of, yeah, it's, I don't know how to explain this honestly, but kind of like a swivel right there, up and down. And then on the actual inside of the arm, I'm just gonna take it off. It is a socket. It's kind of the same thing here, up and down. It's really interesting. It's like hard for me to explain, but it's really interesting how they did this one, because I was curious what kind of range he could get. But he does have a pretty decent butterfly joint for such a big figure, kind of in the upper body here. So I'll kind of show you that. Wrong way. So you utilize not only the butterfly joints here, but you're also utilizing kind of the bicep swivel, which really is right here, but you also have, you know, the ability to move stuff right here, which is, again, really smart. So he can get his arms. I'm gonna get in trouble for this. He's got more range than Zoro when it comes to getting his arms across. I'm just being honest, because Zoro can't really do that. He can do that. So for a character like this to be able to do that, who doesn't really necessarily even need to do this, gotta say, I mean, that's pretty cool. But Tamashii, what are you doing with these other characters, man? Yeah, so pretty good in the arms. You get that bicep swivel there, get your bend, and of course it's gonna be blocked. You know, it's gonna be blocked by these pieces. Nothing much you can do about that. And again, it's not hard to take these off. You just do that and pop it back on. Make sure you match the pieces. You've got your wrist swivel here. Pretty good, actually. Not too bad. And putting that back down. And sometimes I forget what the correct way this is supposed to be lined up, but we'll figure that out later. So yeah, here in the torso areas, so just standard without adjusting anything, you're gonna be, here we go. That's about as far back as he goes, and that's about as forward as he goes. And you'll see it's kind of, let's see, kind of like a hinge in there. It's hard to tell. I don't want to break it off, but it does get some pretty good forward range there. And I mean, if you don't mind this being exposed like that, yeah, pretty good range. And also, I mean, you can, if you want to make him look a little taller, I did think he was a little bit small, but he feels good in hand. But I thought he was a little bit smaller because I thought the box was going to be bigger, to be honest with you. But you can just give him a little height increase like that if you really want to. It doesn't look that bad. It actually looks fine. So you can keep him down like that, or you can have the sash be a little bigger and him a little taller up. But again, personal preference. Now the legs. These legs remind me somewhat of Super Boo, right? Super Boo has some really crazy articulation in the legs, and I still am impressed by Tamashii being able to do that already. So here's about as far wide as he can go. He does have a swivel here at the thigh. He can actually hit kind of a 90-degree there, which crazy for these characters like this that could be hitting that. There is a swivel here kind of at the calf, full 360. You've got your swivel at the ankle, and you've got your toe hinge. Now, these legs don't really kick up that much. In turn though, I mean, you're getting a pretty wide, you know, knee bend there. And I mean, he can actually, you know, spread his legs pretty well there. And you can still stand him up and he can hold that position, you know. He can turn, and just for a small pose on camera. You know, not too bad. I mean, again, for the kind of character he is, most people are not really going to care about him, you know. So for them to have put as much work as they did into this character and kind of given him as much range as they probably can, I gotta say that's pretty respectable. Typically, I gotta say there's been a lot of misses for me this year when it comes to Tamashii Nations, but I gotta say this is a hit for me because it works. It does what it needs to do, and for the type of character it is, it works. You know, it's functional. It's got what it needs. It doesn't feel left out, and there's not really much else that I could really think of to add on to this type of character and just the build, right? I would have changed the accessories, obviously, and given him maybe an energy absorption hand like effect or something. Just, I don't know, that Vegeta faceplate is just, it's a minor complaint, but it just feels unnecessary and it doesn't seem like something most people cared about anyway. But yeah, let me pose them up really quick and then we'll get to our conclusion. All right, we're back. So here we have Android 19 just posed up, and like I said, I feel like Tamashii Nations did probably the best that they possibly could do with this guy. There's not too much more that I could really see them needing to add. Like I said, it looks pretty good. I like what they did with the head sculpts with kind of like that porcelain feel. Do I like more of the matte kind of bright white look on the faces and stuff like that? Kinda, yeah, but you know, this works as well too, just for the fact that it is an Android. It would kind of make sense if he had some, I don't know, glossiness to him, right? The shininess, it's not necessarily superhuman flesh-like, right? At least this particular model. Yeah, I definitely think if you're fine with getting the duo, for sure, it's gonna work out. Like, they will look great together. If he looks great like this, Gero will look probably even just as good, if not a little bit better. I'm sure that they'll both also share a little bit resemblance and articulation as well. So kind of what I'm seeing here, I'm largely satisfied with. But again, things could change. Things may be different once we get him in hand, or more breakdown videos and stuff like that later on. But yeah, I mean, he's worth it if you like the character, or if you want to recreate that one specific scene, he's worth it for it. But if you're a person that's not planning to like do anything else with this figure, I don't know. For what he is, he looks great on the shelf at least. He fits in the display for this Android Saga. Will look great with Gero. Does look pretty good with that one pose with Vegeta. I did try to recreate it just using sticky tack, which actually turned out a lot better than I thought. I should put that up somewhere while I'm talking. It turned out pretty well. Of course, I wasn't using an official Vegeta. That was a Demonico Fit Vegeta, so you know, I'll have to bounce around and see which one has a little bit more range there to get that full look. But you can't do the pose where he's actually like pulling his arms off. You know, that one is his arm. The Android 19's arms just aren't long enough to kind of recreate that scene like that. But you can do the initial once it's broken off, right? You can do it. Of course, you will need a stand. So if you're thinking that you can just do that pose without a stand, I mean, you can try and kind of get Vegeta's feet maybe locked under somewhere in his neck, maybe, but I don't know. The weight redistribution might not work out super well like that. But yeah, I can't really think of anything too bad to say other than complaining about his accessories, and I already complained about that like 2 or 3 times, so I'll leave it. But yeah, I mean, he's great otherwise. Worth the price. I think he was like $60 or $70 on Premium Bandai. A little high, but I feel like they really tried with this one, so I'll give him a W on this one. I won't do like a full 1 out of 10 rating. I just don't typically do that, but they'll get a W for this one because I actually legit had some fun like playing with this out the box, posing it. And if you want to see those other pictures, check my Instagram. I'll probably try to take a little bit more, but yeah, cool figure, worth the price. If you like the character, go for it. And yeah, looking forward to finally completing the Android Saga soon, because man, I would love to move on to Semi-Perfect Cell, Super Vegeta, Super Trunks, 3.0 Cell, so many other characters, right? And of course, all you Boost Saga fans really want to finally get there. So the faster we get out of the Android Saga, the better. There's only a few characters left in the Namek Saga that we really need to get, like Transform Zarbon, Nail, and another Vegeta. 3 characters. Full Power Frieza, we just, I'm not even going to count that. We know it's going to come. There's no way they're going to release the LSSJ Goku and not a Full Power Frieza in the next like year, maybe and a half. It's going to happen. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to end it there. Thank you for watching. Check the community tab if you haven't seen like the latest updates on life stuff or news. That's where the fastest information will be. So anyways, catch you guys later. Peace. Have a good one.